Thank you for tuning in to this special presentation at the Aging and Social Change 13th Interdisciplinary Conference hosted in Ancona, Italy. My name is Jesse Eugene Harriet, and the title of my presentation today is The Beloved Community, a Social and Cultural Perspective on the Benefit of Intergenerational Dialogue in Faith Communities. Essentially, in the United States, over 47.8 million adults were over the age of 65 in 2016. Advances in the field of science, technology, medicine, psychology, and other areas have contributed to the advanced states of well being and quality of life that have provided opportunities for Americans to live longer. The role of the church, however, as a community provides a healthy container in which intergenerational presence, support, interbeing, and dialogue assists younger generations and cohorts in navigating rites of passage that can provide positive benefits within the larger framework of society. The church possesses a knowledge economy, and its primary currency is the subjective experience of faith, regardless of theology, which is why all spiritual or religious communities are communities of faith. And faith is a private formative experience that occurs within the life of the individual. Now, providing positive feedback and positive psychology or positive psychological affirming theology, positive hermeneutics, whichever phrase fits you best. That kind of theology within faith communities can make an effort to build life affirming ideas within the minds of the individual adherents. And so, this subjective, life affirming epistemological framework supports intergenerational dialogue, and it actually helps to contribute to a more positive and just society, which means essentially that individuals from a variety of ages assemble together on various days that they deem fit within communities of faith, and leaving that sacred container, the connections that they form, they're able to share not just information pertaining to faith, but they're able to share personal stories. And through that connection, they develop what Thich Nhat Hanh called interbeing. And that interbeing, that wellness, that positive information, and that positive affirmation, they're able to take that energy and move out into society, and do good in the world, become force for goods in the world, essentially. And the religious experience can be deeply cultural, it can be deeply familial, and deeply personal. And those deep ties offer opportunities, again, for mentorship within the community, which is where interbeing comes from. And interbeing is essentially where individuals gather together, and there is a subjective experience that happens between the individuals that are gathering. That intersubjectivity creates an interbeing where there's connection and safety and affirmation, and they're able to exchange not just the particularities of their faith, but they're able to exchange their life experiences. And those life experiences aren't just from an older cohort translating their life experience to a younger cohort, but that life experience exchange of information goes back and forth and also to the left and the right, so that everyone is edified. The younger generations are able to learn from the life experiences of others that are within the community, and those that are within the community are able to create strong bonds and family ties, what can be termed as spiritual family, which can make up for or take the place of the family ties that may be broken within the original blood tied family dynamic. And it heals family bonds for those existing family bonds that are there, oftentimes that did not serve their intended purpose of providing safety and well-being, which is why individuals sometimes gather together within communities, because in addition to faith, they're also looking to reaffirm those family bonds which may have been broken. So they do go out from faith communities, a lot of times contributing to a just society, but also individuals within faith communities leave those communities of faith and go back into those family dynamics that they're actually blood related to, and it brings a level of healing and vulnerability and patience and kindness that reaffirms those family bonds. And in the case that those family bonds are irretrievably broken, they're able to develop the skills to go out and form new family, as in this age-old metaphor in the West, that family are the bonds and the friends that life gave you. You were sort of birthed in, but friends and new bonds are the family and ties that you give yourself. And so what that does, it contributes again to positive well-being within all of the cohorts that gather together within communities of faith. And it provides sort of an internal strength and willpower to live for those that might feel like life is sort of pressing them out and they feel othered. It reaffirms belonging. And so by coming together on whatever day of the week that their religious proclivity allows them to come together, through that shared sense of well-being and safe space, it helps to reaffirm what can be called the beloved community, which becomes a typology for how individuals should live in the world. You know, there's only one race, and that's the human race. And so those ties defy all of the odds that separate us. And it invites us to come together and find points of connection where we do get along with each other, where we have more common than not. And it facilitates a larger conversation. It helps to support individuals as they're moving out into the world and pioneering their lives or reflecting on the lives that they have lived, and taking those mistakes and turning them into learning opportunities where the post-traumatic stress in life becomes post-traumatic resiliency. And this is why communities of faith can be positive and good to have in the world. And so that is my presentation in a nutshell. Just a few more points concerning the background content. The church has long served essentially as a significant social representative medium, facilitating interbeing and shared cultural meaning within communities. This institution is deeply rooted in religious beliefs and practices, yet it continues to play faith communities a crucial role in shaping societal values, norms, and traditions. And through its various functions and activities, the church provides a platform for individuals to come together, engage in deep connection, cultural rituals, religious rituals, and those rituals helps individuals to build social connections. And through that collective partaking and shared experiences, they're able to learn things about themselves that they might not have known. So coming together through communion in the Christian tradition reinforces the notion of self-sacrifice, but it also reinforces the notion of deep love, the same love that a parent may have for a child. Individuals who partake of communion are able to see the greater love that's within humanity, which can lift up individuals who might be down due to ill experiences in life from others or situations that might have put them down or made them feel worse. Through those sacred rituals, they're able to see love and that lifting up experience, that felt sense of the holy. Shows them that in spite of all of the experiences that they have encountered within humanity, that love is still possible through the eyes of other human beings and other manifestations of life on the planet, which is a principle that sort of ties all of the religious communities together in spite of their individual doctrinal differences. Now, religion in general embodies an important cultural phenomenon. It enables communities to establish a collective identity and develop a sense of belonging. And this identity is effective and it facilitates well-being when that identity is formed from positive presentations of theological positions within the church settings. Because I have to say that in order for faith communities to sort of represent what I call the beloved community, it's a phrase used by Dr. King, there has to be a positive hermeneutic that is preached and taught and shared throughout the community. That's inclusive, that's loving, that's affirmative, that sort of supersedes ethical systems of behavior that come out of the doctrinal structure, whereas some communities of faith might have a problem with same-gendered marriage. The love and compassion and acceptance and inclusivity, which is at the heart of communities of faith, should supersede ethical systems which may have evolved from archaic methods of living. And so the church's charge is to foster interbeing, interconnectedness, positive communication, and interdependence among individuals within a community. And through the emphasis of religious doctrines that are positively interpreted and based on love and compassion and mutual support, the church can then promote cooperation and solidarity among its members. And so that love and that solidarity is communicated between the generations so that individuals from various age cohorts are able to learn that from one another and take those skills out into society as they're moving into the world, into corporate structure, into bureaucracy, into whatever means by which they make a living, and in turn blesses the community. Spirituality has important positive relationships with various measures of life satisfaction and psychosocial well being, according to Moberg's work in 2005. Though participation in religious communities, or through participation in religious communities, communal worship, shared spiritual practices, and all of those things, individuals experience a sense of shared purpose and unity, further strengthening the social fabric of society. Now, the church's role as a social representative medium is evident in its ability to create and maintain shared cultural meaning by creating positive rituals, symbols, and narratives that provide a framework. Because I can't stress enough that it's through the positive narratives and the positive interpretations of doctrine that are found all throughout communities of faith. Those positive, affirming, inclusive interpretations and teachings through rituals and symbolism and mythology, those are the things that best support well-being and interbeing, because those are the major takeaways, those principles that individuals are able to take and then move out into life that will ultimately help them navigate life as society changes and ethical systems within the larger society are evaluated and reevaluated again, and rights are extended to individuals from classes of society who may not have had certain rights and certain privileges. So the foundational elements, which are love and inclusivity, which are found in many faith traditions, at the heart of the faith traditions, supersede the ethical systems that they put in place. And then individuals are able to take those principles and move out into life and help to make the world better, help to ensure not just equality, but that equality is equitable, so that individuals' rights are supported and sustained, and those sorts of things. And that's what contributes to a just society. So society at large in the world may not be super religious, but religious communities of faith can be beneficial if their doctrine is interpreted positively and the concentration of all of the faith teachings are focused on divine principles or positive principles like love and justice and harmony and equanimity, that are then shared and given back and forth through various generational cohorts within the community itself. And that trains them so that they're able to go out into life and to learn and relearn and apply those principles to make the world a better place. And so a couple points of discussion when exploring the social and cultural benefit of intergenerational dialogue in faith communities. It's important to consider several points. Interbeing and communal solidarity. That's the first one. So according to Thich Nhat Hanh, interbeing is a concept that underscores the interconnectedness of all things. And Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this in 1998. Churches in this regard foster a sense of interbeing through communal worship, shared values, and collective action in services when they have agreed upon goals. Now, it becomes possible for interbeing to flourish through open dialogue between generations represented within communities of faith, when that open dialogue facilitates rites of passage and guidance as people of all age cohorts navigate through life. So in short, this kind of thinking works, this framework works again when there is open dialogue between the generations and when that open dialogue is healthy. And that open dialogue is healthy when the faith teachings supersede whatever ethical systems that might be in place that cause disenfranchisement to individuals within society at the time those teachings were created. When the doctrinal teachings are based on love and inclusivity and positivity and well-being, it empowers individuals within the community, and they are then able to take that empowered life and move out into the world to make it better. Another point of discussion is shared cultural meaning. Churches serve as the bedrock of shared cultural meaning because their knowledge economy is one of faith. Understood as Berger and Luckman's symbolic universes, churches helped in constructing and sustaining shared sociocultural reality for its members, according to Berger and Luckman in 1966. That shared meaning then creates a safe space for knowledge transfer between and among generations within that community. And then that safe space, if it consists of love, trust, and concern for one another's well-being, become the foundations of principles that individuals are able to use to build their lives, construct their families, move out into the world, that sort of thing. And then finally, a final point of discussion is identity formation and social representation. As a cultural institution, the church often plays a significant role in identity formation and social representation, according to Jenkins in 2008, who explored this perspective, linking communal identity formation with religious participation and affiliation. That sort of idea where it's people like us do things like this, but that communal identity formation, which occurs within communal settings, it feels like at times that can occur within a vacuum, but separating oneself to go and participate in a religious community can be a good thing if individuals are able to see that this service or this time of deep reflection in community isn't a vacuum that exists off to the side of society. It's just a time of training and reflection to connect to principles that unite us rather than divide us, as opposed to segmenting oneself or a group of people off in society and they are cut off from the rest of the world. Faith communities are powerful when they are transformative by empowering groups of people that decide to adhere to basic universal principles and then send them back out into society, and there's no force or coercion. That kind of religious work, to the word religion meaning to tie back, empowers communities and cities where faith communities do reside. And so references for this presentation are Bella, 1967, Bella R.N., who wrote published a paper called Civil Religion in America, published by Daedalus, and Berger and Luckman in 1966 published a paper entitled The Social Construction of Reality, a Treatise in the Sociology of Knowledge. Durkheim in 1912 published an older paper called The Elementary Forms of the Religious Life, translated by Joseph Ward Swain. And Gertz in 1973 published a paper entitled The Interpretation of Cultures. Thich Nhat Hanh published a book entitled Interbeing, 14 Guidelines for Engaged Buddhism, in which he talked about how Buddhism can facilitate a healthy well-being and also interbeing when the individuals that are gathered within that communal system are empowered through teachings of love and togetherness and cooperation, and then are able to move out within the larger societal framework and affect change and help to liberate individuals and support families. And then Moberg, 2005, wrote a paper entitled Research in Spirituality, Religion, and Aging. The Journal of Gerontological Social Work was where it was published. And in this work, Moberg talked about how spirituality, religion, and aging kind of go together. And he looked at various reasons and age cohorts that support that understanding. But essentially, the church is a place and a space, and not just the church, but faith communities in general. They're spaces where social and cultural transformation can happen. Again, when the teaching and the belief systems and the epistemological framework focus is not so much on ethical systems of behavior that are specific to that teaching, but they also point individuals that attend those services to deeper principles that empower one within life and that are progressive. And that emphasis on those, they supersede the doctrinal philosophy of that particular faith system, because individuals are able to share and connect, but they're also able to walk away with sort of universal principles that are applicable in all of life beyond individual faith systems. And so that, I believe, is why intergenerational dialogue in faith communities is important, because individuals are able to share within their own individual life experiences, love and pain and loss, and guide other individuals from various age cohorts within that community through the various stages of life. They're able to share and learn. They're also able to make up for broken family ties or help to restore family ties that are broken, or strengthen family ties that are already strong, which are all positive traits that are beneficial for individuals in the larger society. Thank you for listening. My name is Jesse Eugene Harriet. This has been a presentation on the Beloved Community, a social and cultural perspective on the benefit of intergenerational dialogue in faith communities, submitted in accordance with requirements for Aging and Social Change, the 13th Interdisciplinary Conference held in Ancona, Italy. Special thanks to the conference team who put this conference together and for allowing me to present here. I look forward to your questions in the discussion posts, and thank you again for watching.